What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros Afternoon Live Show. If you love crypto, you found the right channel. You're here on the right day. We've got some fantastic news coming your way. The best part about today, I'll tell you what, I'm very excited. Someone said earlier in this morning show, Tim's got a glimmer on his face. Something's good. I'll tell you why I'm smiling so much right now. A lot of positive news, but all of it is bad news for one individual. His first name is Gary. His last name is Gensler. The time is coming for his power to come to a close, and I am loving it. I don't wish any harm upon him. I want him to retire, go join his brother on the beach, and leave the serious decision-making to someone who actually cares, and we are seeing those things come to fruition. Also, Solana kicking it off with some amazing news about a potential ETF coming. We're going to cover that and a whole lot more on the show. So if you're as excited as I am, first of all, smile. Smiles are good. Everyone loves smiling. Also, smash the like button and hit subscribe. But first, we got to play our intro. T-Shroom, let's roll it. Welcome. T-Shroom, is it frigid down in Florida?
In my house it is. We get the AC cranked, Tim, but it was showering all day. Rain.
You're not gonna get any complaints from me. I just thought, for the longest time, everyone gave me such a hard time about wearing hoodies. I don't know what it's like down there. It is a whopping like 90-something degrees here in North Georgia, so I can only imagine what Florida's like. But the important question, despite your apparel you're wearing, is how are you doing today, T-Shirt?
Well, Tim, I'm feeling better than I deserve. How are you?
I'm doing quite swell. I'm loving it. Again, great day today from just so many reasons. I mean, we're going to continue to see some things going nuts. I know over in our Discord, people are asking what's going on with prices, what's going on with when is price finally going to break out with like Bitcoin and stuff. I want to make sure people understand. We're going to cover this on the charts. There will be some volatility. We're having some green candles. There's a couple channels or a couple coins that are having some red days. Ultimately, in case you were not prepared for volatility to come, we have a lot of things happening really within like the next, let's call it like 18 hours that are going to cause a little bit of volatility. But I do think overwhelmingly bullishness. We'll get into some of the details. But number one, and I want to be careful with what I say, in case you guys are wondering, Google/YouTube. If you don't hear us talk about presidential candidates by name, it's because, for reasons you probably can suspect, Google and YouTube don't really like when we say them. So you might hear us refer to things like the Orange Man and the Sleepy Man. Well, the Orange Man and the Sleepy Man are having a discussion tonight about who might be the next leader of America. It's going to be an interesting one. Watch for volatility come into that. I'll say before we get into the details, T-Shroom, I'm interested what you think too, but I'm overwhelmingly bullish no matter what happens. Here's why. Whether you are a fan of Orange Man or Sleepy Man, that's completely up to you. That's your opinion. They're both going to have heavy reason if/when. I cannot imagine they're going to have a debate and crypto won't at least somewhat be in it. Well, recently, of course, we've seen Orange Man be a little more positive towards crypto, but even Sleepy Man, I think for the sake of trying to win as many voters as he can, he has gone positive on crypto. Either way, I think that listening to the conversation on a national, scratch that, worldwide stage where these two men will be having a heated conversation, but will both probably talk very positively about crypto, I would not be surprised to see markets go berserk with some green candles tonight during that conversation. Then tomorrow, we've been headlining this all week. We had an options expiry for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, worth combined $10 billion. But we are sitting so far above where those levels would have to get for it to be bearish. That gets me very bullish. And then we also have PCE numbers coming out tomorrow morning. That's the only one I'm not sure what's going to happen with PCE. I actually really don't know where PCE is going to be. The other two, I think, are very positive for the crypto space. T-Shroom, do you have any feelings about those issues before we jump into our bubbles and our markets and the stories we have for today?
Yeah. Well, PCE has been cooling down. It's been generally on a downtrend for the last year. And so we're hoping to see that continue. That signals to the Fed, that the interest rates are coming down as predicted, as they've been working so hard to do. And that's what we're hoping for here on the markets.
Well, we're going to go and jump into those markets. We'll have more conversation in the middle and end of the show, but let's go ahead and get into what's happening in the world of crypto. Now, there are two very large red tokens up here, FET and AGIX. Some of you guys know these are the coins that in just a couple of weeks will be merging into ASI, but they've had some big green days the last couple of days, so I'm not that concerned that they're big and red. So if you're just now checking in on the markets for the last couple of days, you haven't been checking out, you're like, why are these ones so negative? It's because they've been positive like on the week. Like I imagine if we were to find them, oh, actually they're red on the week. I was going to guess they're going to be green. Well, I was wrong there. We have some big green bubbles though. Jupiter, one of our friendly favorites here, is up there. Render is up there. Solana, of course. And if you haven't heard the news, we'll explain that one a little bit later. But BOEM, Maker, Caspa, AVEX. What is CFX? That's Conflux? Yeah, Conflux. I'm hiding one, Akash, right behind me. If I can scoot it out here. Akash is up pretty largely as well. But look at another one. A coin that people have been sleeping on, but we here at the Investing Bros have continued to tell you guys, hey, just because price action for a little bit of time wasn't the best, don't sleep on the project as a whole. Polkadot is up 9% in the last 24 hours. So a lot of great things in the Bros portfolio, turning our portfolio green on the day. Let's check out what's happening in the top 10 as a whole. Now, Bitcoin is sitting here. It got back up over 62,000 briefly today, back down to around 61.5. Why is that? I just kind of referenced in the intro. Volatility before the bigger bullish events, like that conversation happening tonight, and also the report of the options expiry coming out early tomorrow morning. Either way, it's still up in the last 24 hours, 1.3%. Ethereum is up 2.5%. BNB up 1.6%. Of course, Solana, our big top 10 winner, it's up 9%. XRP barely up 0.7%. Toncoin 3.6%. Dogecoin only 0.7%. Cardano only about 1.7%. AVAX pushing closer towards 8%. Let's check it on ChainLink. Now, here's the thing. ChainLink slipped back down to number 15 temporarily. It's going to go up. But the reason why is because Polkadot had such a great run. Polkadot takes back number 14 spot. I like both of them. Both of them are in my portfolio, so I'm happy to see them both up and in green today on the charts. Let's check in really quickly over here. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, there we go. You guys want a ice bath? I guess I've been talking about ice baths here recently. So that's the sponsor of the day. Go to Orca. Just kidding. They don't pay us a single dime to say that, so don't do it. Until they pay us money, you guys don't boycott Orca until they sponsor the channel. Fear and Greed is down today again, back to 40. Now, remember, we actually have kind of talked about this. Let me actually go to the last month or so. We talked about a couple of days ago, I did not think that the bottom would be in until we dropped below, or rather 240 on the Fear and Greed Index. But in one day, we fell all the way from 51. And just because we temporarily, not even for a full day, but for a couple of hours, were below $60,000, we actually reported on June 25th a 30 on the Fear and Greed Index, a level that we have not seen since Bitcoin's price was at $25,000 back on September 12th. So that's majorly bullish right there in and of itself. It, of course, then would bounce back up yesterday to around 46. But today, despite the fact that we're back over 60, we're sitting at 40. I see this as a very bullish thing long term. We're in the fear, and that means a lot of people are still not convinced. When I'm saying a lot of people, I mean retail investors are still not overwhelmingly convinced that they should be buying. You know what that means? A lot of the weekends are gone. There's a couple people still holding, but ultimately that's the trigger. That's the signal to the whales and institutions. Hey guys, all the selling has happened. No one wants to buy. That's our perfect opportunity to scoop up all the liquidity at this level. I'm still seeing that as a very, very bullish sign. Let's quickly just address the Bitcoin charts, and then we got to focus on Solana. I'm going to do the Bitcoin chart, but Solana, the big topic of the day, we got to focus over there. We are still kind of battling with this green line right here. And you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, even though we like to draw flat lines and very skinny looking lines, these should always be treated more like zones. So this zone of support, I believe, is still in play. At the end of the day, if you go back to February, we are still setting higher lows along with a flat level of resistance here at 72,000. This is still an ascending triangle. I would like to see the price of Bitcoin get back up over this green line, if I can grab that marker correctly there. I'd like to see it get back above and at least make a move something like this to confirm the bullishness. But even right now, as long as we stay above 56,000, we're still in a zone where we're setting a higher low in a bullish trend. And we're putting that inside of a bullish formation that should have a breakout. Not right there. We should have a breakout from this prediction that would shoot the price of Bitcoin in the next couple of months. Yes, I'm talking about before the end of 2024. We could see that price shoot up to $100,000, back about 103, almost 104, based off this prediction. That is still in play at the moment. Some levels we're still watching. Again, on the daily chart, we have seen this support level continue to hold up very nicely. The take profit on the recent short, this order block that is telling us a lot of bears have been exhausted in this area. We will still see resistance in the realm of about 67,000. Not only that, I think you also see liquidations are going to come up into that realm here as well. That last little bit of yellow there on 67. So that's our mark. Still, at this point, we need to get above 67, probably above 69 just to feel comfortable, to reclaim the daily chart as being in a bullish trend once again. As long as we stay below this pink breaker block and that red smart trail cloud, technically speaking, again, this is technical analysis, but technically speaking, the bears are somewhat in control. However, our oscillators are showing us a lot of positive signs of moving back to the upside. The one that I'm most excited about is right now, actually. Today, as long as the candle on the daily chart does not close and start going way lower, as long as we stay around or over 61,500 to close today's daily candle, we have our green reversal back on the 22nd. We flashed here on the 26th, which was yesterday, a bullish momentum in an oversold position. And as we are speaking right now, the money flow, while it is still red, is crossing back above the bearish threshold. If you have been watching the channel, if you're a fan of LuxAlgo and you know that this is the greatest entry position we use here on the channel, that is a major buy signal on the daily chart that should at least, and again, I say least, get us back up here closer to 67 before we make some decision. This is all speaking out very, very bullish signs in the next couple of days in my mind. I think the news just continues to back that up, but that's continuing. That's still where we're sitting at here with Bitcoin. That's going to wrap up our Bitcoin conversation. It's time to move into another coin that is going absolutely nuts today on the backing of some big bullish news over on Solana. Let's go over and take a look at them. Now, bullish news. What is the bullish news? T-Shroom, it's that they had Van Eck file for a Solana ETF. We'll put a pin in that because we got to discuss that. But that's the big news causing a big rally on Solana. Let's take a look at the chart real quick, and then we'll dive into the bullish conversation. Notice, though, again, we hit the take profit on the daily sell order that came in back on June 11th. We're continuing to hold this bullish order block here of support. And now we did just what I told you Bitcoin could do. We've made a push back up towards this very important smart trail of a red cloud. That is some resistance right here. It's the defining factor on the daily chart of who is in control. Is it the bulls? It is the bears. As long as we are below this red cloud, it's going to be the bears that are in control, and they have the ability to make us reject right here and move back to the downside. But when/if, and I think I'm more about a when right now, when we break above it, we're talking about getting above 155, give or take, closing at least one, if not two candles to be, confident about it. We would reclaim this for the bulls so for the first time since back on the 13th. Taking a look at our oscillators, you would have seen even before the news broke this morning, we got the buy signal here yesterday for Solana on the daily chart. Remember, I just talked about Bitcoin. As long as we close above, as long as we close the candle above 61,500, we have the buy signal. Well, Solana's actually closed last night. The candles hadn't started to explode. We needed the catalyst for us to go to the upside, but we had the bullish reversal. We had the bullish momentum. And that money flow with excessive sellers left the space last night. And sure enough, Solana, again, is partly the charts, partly the news, but it is responding bullishly off of those signals. Now, what is the news? I already told you the detail, or I told you the headlines. I'm going to go to T-Shroom. If you did not watch our live show this morning, we covered it pretty much breaking as it was coming out. Now we've had time to get a little bit more details. T-Shroom, what do people need to know about Solana right now, and should they be buying or selling?
Absolutely, Tim. Well, Solana price spikes after Van Eck files for the first ETF in the U.S. It's actually pretty remarkable here, you can take a look right at this article here. I'll go down. Let's see. Cryptocurrency spiked by 6.6% within an hour and is up almost 9% within the last day to a current price just below 150. This sudden upward trend follows a Thursday morning announcement that VanEck filing for a Solana ETF. A prominent New York-based investment management firm known for its exchange-traded funds, ETFs, filed the S1 registration statement on Thursday for its VanEck Solana Trust. This move marks the first public attempt to launch a spot Solana ETF in the United States. This is going to be pretty interesting, Tim. I mean, there was a lot of talk about XRP being the first to get in after Ethereum, but it looks like Solana is going to be the first after Ethereum, and it's a heavyweight. You know, VanEck ain't nothing to shake a stick at. It's a real deal. Wall Street, definitely tried and true name there, tried and true brand. So, what are your thoughts here? Is this enough to send Solana back to all-time highs? Are we not ready for that quite yet? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, I mean, the timeline. Let's talk about when would the timeline of new all-time highs be. First of all, we haven't set a new all-time high. We haven't seen a new all-time high change in Solana since it set it way back in November of 2021. So I think your first thought you're thinking of is, are we talking about new highs for this bull market so far? In which case, we're going to talk about getting back up above $200, pushing towards 210. How long it could take for that to happen? Probably just a couple of months, honestly. I think it could still have to wait potentially until fall, unless we get an early breakout. But I would not be surprised to see Solana set even new highs for the entire cycle before we get into the calendar year 2025. Why? Because Solana has been one of the leading altcoins during the bull run. It started rallying pretty aggressively. Actually, it resurrected itself here in January of 2023, then traded sideways for almost a full year until October. It went on another parabolic run, leading the entire space. In fact, I think we had this conversation yesterday in our membership group with our YouTube members. We had our bro time, and we talked about how most people's largest holdings in crypto right now are probably still Solana. Why? It's not even because they bought the most Solana. It's because if you held crypto back before October of 2023, Solana just drastically outpaced almost everything else, especially larger blue chip coins. I think Solana still has a long way to go to the upside, but let's not be expecting like $600 Solana in the next month or two. That's going to take some time. We still have a lot of time left here in 2024. I know sometimes we discuss this T-shirt like we're about to enter 2025. We still have 5 months. I mean, we're about to get into July, month number 7. Actually, 6 months, because we have all of month number 7 all the way through month number 12. So we are only halfway through 2024, and more than likely, the bull market top is not going to be till closer to the end of 2025. So a long time still left in the bull market. Don't be disappointed if Solana doesn't make 50% jumps every single day between now and then. In fact, I'm going to burst some bubbles. There's still bearish days ahead. Those bearish days will simply just be corrections after massive moves to the upside. So very bullish on Solana, but I'll tell you what this actually starts to open the door of. And it's, we're only at 3:18. We're only 18 minutes into the show. And we're going to start having to mix our topics here, T-Stream. That's the cool thing. You and I get to make all those decisions. There's no like big wig behind us telling us we got to stay on time with certain topics. You and I are the big wigs here. We get to decide whatever we want. So we're going to say, screw the order of our show. We have to keep things in clean little boxes. There's another major story when it comes to the SEC that when you marry what's happening over there with what's happening in Solana, this is a massive bullish catalyst for Solana and the rest of the crypto space. Why? Because Gary Gensler has been on a witch hunt on the crypto market for years. And we're not just talking about the last couple of months. We're talking about for years, he has been a foe to the crypto community. But he has recently gotten his butt handed to him a number of times. And yet, the biggest defeat he is going to face against crypto is to come based off of this news. Let's get into that, and I'm going to kind of wrap it back into kind of my thoughts about Solana, about other altcoins. We'll take a look at some other altcoins making some big moves, but what's going on in the world of Gary Gensler? Is he having a good day-to-day, T-Shirt?
He's not having a good day, Tim. It's a double whammy, unfortunately for him. Coinbase sues SEC, FDIC for information related to crypto regulation. Coinbase is looking to shed light on what it describes as a deliberate and concerted effort by the SEC and the FDIC and other financial regulators to pressure banks to deny crypto firms access to the federal banking system. So, kind of to summarize here and give a little bit of background, for those of you who don't know, the banks are very heavily regulated, like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch. These are the types of banks to think about here. And they've been withheld to be able to invest in crypto as aggressively as you might expect the future of finance to be invested in. Well, that's been the SEC and the FDIC's doing, and now Coinbase is saying, "Hey, look, enough. We're going to sue you. We're going to take you to court." And the courts again and again have shown that it's actually not the SEC that's right in a lot of these cases. But it doesn't stop there. But Tim, I want to get your impression from that first.
Let me even explain this, especially for people, because I think a lot of you probably are already connecting dots on what's been happening up to this point and why this lawsuit's so very important. But for anyone who might be feeling like, man, I feel like people are talking in circles around me, what's going on? Well, let me wrap this up into a nice little bow for you. The SEC has been going after cryptos left and right. The job of the SEC, and if crypto is an evil space, it is the job of the SEC, if they were securities, to protect the individuals from them. I think that's a whole stupid thing, but that is the job of the SEC, to try to protect the individuals. It is not their job to go and tell banks what to do. They're supposed to regulate banks. They're supposed to make sure banks aren't screwing over people, but to tell a bank or a financial institution what they are and are not allowed to do with things that have no final ruling is not the job of the SEC. And yet, that is what Coinbase is believing. That's what the lawsuit is all about, is the SEC has overstepped their bounds. They are no longer looking after the well-being of the people. They are specifically trying to control and manipulate the entire financial system by threatening banks. If you get involved with cryptocurrency, and we don't like cryptocurrency, we will rain down thunder upon you in another way. That's kind of how they're saying it. And that is not their job. That is not their purview. And I was asking someone earlier, do we think that Coinbase has any evidence here? Here's the good stuff. First of all, I think Coinbase is not going to do this without some form of evidence. That's very, very fortunate. But the next piece of news is actually what I think is very important. I'm going to set it up, T-Shirt, but I want you to address it. Normally, whenever something like this would happen, the SEC has a little scapegoat. They have a thing that they can do to try to get away from being majorly in trouble. They have an internal form of judgment. They have a judge internal to the SEC that helps say, all right, someone's appealing, someone's upset with us. Did we do everything the correct way? We'll kind of review it and we'll punish ourselves if we see any wrongdoing. Of course, it doesn't take a very intelligent person to realize how corrupt that could be. So that is why this next piece of information coming out today is so very important. T-Shirt, and what is that?
Absolutely. Well, the faces you see before you are the Supreme Court, and the summation of their decision today has resulted in this headline. The Supreme Court has just ruled in a 6-3 vote that when the SEC seeks penalties for fraud, a defendant is entitled to a jury trial in federal court, as opposed to being subjected to the agency's in-house legal proceedings. It is very different and very favorable. You could say not just to crypto firms, crypto projects, but also to corporations and other entities that are seeming to run afoul with the SEC. So it's a big day for private enterprise, big day for companies and new ideas.
And again, it gets back to that whole thing, the fraud, and that's what's so cool here is the SEC has not been called guilty yet. So I want to make sure people understand this. They are not necessarily guilty, but the Supreme Court has ruled that this lawsuit has to deal with fraud. The SEC has committed fraud, and therefore they don't get to have their little internal legal proceedings. They actually have to go before a third party, unbiased judge. And how has that worked out for SEC over the last 12 months? I think I count L. They don't seem to win lawsuits if they don't get their own judge on the board. So it's one of those things that going back into the world of Solana, let's kind of continue to wrap this up because, again, we're trying to paint a picture for you of why this is so bullish. Yep. The SEC has been telling/threatening banks and financial institutions against crypto. And we're seeing banks actually want to be in crypto, but they have been told that there will be punishments put upon them if they went that way. So therein lies your complete financial banking manipulation of cryptocurrency. It actually is coming from the Fed. From the SEC. Don't want to throw Jerome Powell in this. He has enough problems on his hands. He doesn't need this accusation as well. So you have that going on here. Then all the while, we continue to see the manipulation from Gary Gensler, where he accuses coins like Solana, like Cardano, like Matic, and several other legitimate altcoin projects that will change the way the world operates. They deem them securities because there's any reason to? No, just because they want to call them securities. However, now they're over here. They're threatening banks. They're threatening large financial institutions. That has caused a complete suppression on the price. We saw what they did to XRP for literally 4 years. They're still being suppressed, even though they're about to win their lawsuit. They suppressed XRP. They've been suppressing Solana, Cardano, and other altcoins. And now the piper is going to be paid because they don't get to keep those decisions in-house anymore. The banks should no longer be afraid of the threats of the SEC because the SEC is going to be going to court with an unbiased judge, and the evidence will be laid out that they have been committing fraud. At least Gary Gensler has, and the band that he's assembled over there at the SEC. This would have massive implications for Solana's price along with that ETF, but also free the reins of all the other altcoins that have been labeled and tagged securities falsely just because the SEC has some sort of ulterior motive. I'll tell you what, that's like the main important detail of this conversation. I'm interested to see who else gets drug into the light with this conversation. Anybody heard from Auntie Beth recently? She's been a little silent. Yep. Ever since these L's have been rolling out from the SEC, I don't hear a lot of our good old rah-rah anti-crypto, anti-Beth statements. For anyone who doesn't know, Elizabeth Warren, I share a last name with her. She's Anti-Beth. Little inside joke. She's been dead silent, and for a while we've suspected that her and Gary Gensler might have shared a dinner or two over the last couple of years. I'm interested in chat. What do you guys think? Type in chat if you think Elizabeth Warren gets exposed in anything with this. T-Shirt, what about you? What are your thoughts about how deep this could go?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely potential for there to be further investigation. I just don't know, what is going to be done about it. I think at the end of the day, they just need to withdraw the power from these actors, from these bad actors, and put them in their place, right? Congress needs to give them, and in this case, it's the U.S. Supreme Court. It's kind of disappointing that it had to go that far, but U.S. Congress really needs to give clear borders. What is the jurisdiction of the SEC? Does there need to be a third regulator to regulate digital asset markets? Or does that need to go over the CFTC? The Congress needs to act, and there's plenty of models around the world of how this can work. I think Taiwan, in my opinion, seems to have rolled out the most common sense legislation for the digital asset explosion that we're seeing. One thing I did want to point out, Tim, I think that the SEC has committed fraud in the past. This specific story is saying that that when the SEC seeks penalties for fraud, so they identify fraud out in the market, the defendant that they bring in is entitled to a jury trial in the federal court. So this specific outcome isn't necessarily identifying the fraud that the SEC has committed. It's just taking the power away from the SEC, or more clearly defining a power that the SEC never had in the first place. I guess we could put it that way.
But it is going back. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but it is going back and saying the fraud that the SEC has committed with what they're doing, attacking the crypto. The crypto space as a whole. And remember, here's another thing. I don't know if we covered it in depth, but I think it was roughly a week ago, maybe a little longer than that. The lawsuit that the SEC had against Coinbase came to an end. I think there's a lot of things happening there that's going to lead into this countersuit, this aggressive behavior from Coinbase, who, once again, Coinbase, they have their moments where you start to wonder, like, man, are you guys a part of the larger manipulative play here? But then they'll do these things. Brian Armstrong and his group over there at Coinbase, they'll do these things that just come back in and they get back into your heart, and you start to love them again and saying, you know what? We love you, Brian. We love you, Coinbase. Please fight the good fight for us so we can continue to see bigger things coming. Let's check out a couple other coins here before we move into Q&A. We might I mean, it's only 3:30, but we kind of covered all of the main topics, main stories we wanted to talk about today. Let's get into some coins that are getting a lot of bullish attention today. I want to start with one. I mentioned it in the intro during our bubble conversation, but it's Polkadot. And I can't tell you guys how many times I've seen comments in chat saying, why do you guys talk about Polkadot? This is a dead project. There's nothing happening. Well, guess what? It's back up to the move. It's not, setting any new highs by any means. I'm not gonna lie to you and act like we're going some parabolic level, but we're still seeing this sign of fight from Polkadot. You guys can see here we've been under a bearish trend line since the high back here on May 27th. And we are now breaking out of that level today. Let's see what LuxAlgo is telling us about the daily chart. Similar to Solana, big bullish move, a buy signal actually flashing after we hit the take profit on the sell order. But this big move is moving us right into a level of resistance that does need to be addressed. There's going to be a lot of resistance here around 658 where we have the smart trail and a bearish breaker block. But if we get up above that and start to push closer to $7, here's another area, another coin that the bulls are looking to take control of as we are speaking. This is one we actually talked about in our VIP trading group. We had a good buy signal here way back in May. We had a little bit of a bounce there in price, but ultimately couldn't sustain it long term. We rejected on the smart trail. But once again, we're seeing the signs here. It's a minor sign. This isn't the best buy signal I've ever had, but it is bullish. A green reversal, bullish divergence as well, but our green momentum dot coming in on a very overextended oscillator. And today we are watching that money flow go back positive again after a couple days of being back in the bearish category. That is another daily buy signal. That's many. We're going to see a lot of them. I mean, if we went through almost every altcoin on the list, and I want you guys to go ahead and type in some ones you want us to take a look at, but you're going to see a lot of daily buy signals after big pullbacks over the last week. That is just another one we're watching in Polkadot saying, hey, great stuff happening there. Let's check out AVAX, another coin that had recently just not had a lot going for it. Let's turn off LuxAlgo for a second. Another coin kind of pulling back majorly after having a fantastic November and December, a fantastic March, setting a high for the bull market here on $65. It had pulled back pretty far. I gave you guys this zone. We didn't quite touch it, so I didn't catch this one perfectly. But as we were pulling back, I did tell you guys, do not be surprised to see it pull back closer to $22. Why? Well, that's about a 60-something% pullback. That means great buy spot, first of all. But also, this is a very normal pullback for altcoins to have. It's a level of former resistance, also support. If you kind of look at the things that have happened here in its history, if I were to extend this green line, this has been a level of support, a little bit of support right in here, resistance, breakthrough. And now we've come back down. If I were to just extend this zone just a little bit, we can make it touch. I'll leave it as I had it, but you get the point here. A level that has been very important to the history price of AVAX, around $22, $23. It got revisited, and now we're starting to see the strength come back in. I mean, look at that high volume pretty much as we're touching the bottom. That was the sign that the bear's power was coming to an end. If we take a look at what's happening right now, we actually are printing a buy order today and have room to run before we hit resistance the same way Bitcoin and Solana and even Polkadot are looking. We could make it even all the way up back to $31 before we hit that first level, that strong level of bearish resistance. If we break above it, if we start to get closer towards $35, I would say let's go $34, $35. Now all of a sudden we go from being bearish since all the way back here on June 7th to the bulls reclaiming the bullish narrative and having room to the upside. Once again, lots of reasons on the oscillator here on the daily chart to be bullish. Stochastics had dragged on the bottom since back on June 1st. We were 100% oversold not that long ago, but the RSI is starting to make an aggressive pull to the upside. Also, today we are watching the MACD cross bullish for the first time. It has not been bullish since way back here in May on the 29th. And then, of course, just like we're seeing with the other coins, we're seeing the buy signal, this great buy signal on the daily chart, green reversal, green momentum, positive money flow. Even excessive sellers who recently joined the party are leaving. These are all very positive signs of further upward momentum coming for AVAX. Several other coins have had some fantastic days. Let's take a look at some other big gainers on my list. We've already talked about, I don't cover memes a lot, but here we go. You got BONK up 8%. Got a nice way until it runs into resistance. Honestly, I'm not a meme guy, but you know what? Tim's in a good mood. He'll tell you some positive things if you're a meme guy. Watch for BONK to potentially get Another, let's see, how much more can we rally here on BONK before we really run into trouble? Another 22%. And then if we can break above that, then all of a sudden it reclaims the bullish narrative. BOEM is up 14%. It's running into its resistance right now. Let's get up here above, 1.2 cents, and then we'll start to feel more bullish here about BOEM. But it's had a nice big rally today. Jupiter, we've covered Jupiter here. Jupiter got some room here, just like the others. Let's say the oscillators here. Let's see, do we have that buy signal? Yes, buy signal coming in here on Jupiter. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. You love to see it, but we have some room before we run into trouble. In fact, in this case on Jupiter, we could see a run up of 20% before we kind of have to make the decision. Do the bulls take back over, or do the bears hold the line there around $1.02? So just a lot of coins making some big moves today. You love to see it. I see you guys typing some of those in chat. Let's answer those here in just a second before the factoid. But let's give a shout out to our sponsor of the day here, T-Shroom. Yes, guys, it is June. We're about to enter July, but it is still time to talk about taxes. If you guys are preparing like I am to make a lot of money this next year in crypto, you're going to want to make sure those taxes are taken care of. Decrypted.Tax is the official CPA of the Investing Bros. Also, we have a link where if you use their services and tell them that the bros sent you, you get 25% off. Ernest and his team, the greatest tax people that I have ever dealt with, whether I'm just talking about regular money or even crypto. He knows what he's doing. He's a tax attorney. He's going to take care of you to make sure you pay the least money possible to Uncle Sam, but stay within your legal limits. And again, yes, it is July. Yes, I understand most of you probably don't do your taxes until closer to March or April. Tell me how that works out for you. Tell me if that's a very easygoing and peaceful process. My guess is no. Did you know you don't have to wait until March or April to do your taxes? Do you know that if you had a CPA, you can make sure you stay on top of it year in and year out? Go give him a call. You get a free 60-minute consultation with Ernest, and then he will get you going. If you want his services, 25% off just because you came from the bros. Take care of your money. Take care of your gains. Make sure you have the right CPA. I'm going to shout out to Nashville. We're going to get this one in here, and then we're going to get into some questions. I see some other coins you guys want to look at. T-Shroom and I are going on a trip at the end of the month. It's called the Bitcoin Conference. It's in Nashville between July 25th to 27th. Guess what happens? If you go there, you get to see me. You get to see T-Shroom. I'm hearing a rumor, and again, we're not going to say his name because Google and YouTube don't really like it. I hear a very popular orange man is going to be there as well. So if you want to see those individuals, come check it out. There's a link down below. Use our link to purchase your tickets. Come see us in Nashville. It's going to be a blast. This is the #1 conference in the world when it comes to crypto. It's the biggest thing every single year. I cannot wait to see you guys there. Shout out, if you already have tickets, if you're going, put a 1 in chat. I cannot wait to hook up and meet with you guys here in just a couple of weeks. T-Shroom, let's do like 3 Q&As. Let's do 3 coins, probably TA on coins. We'll do our factoid of the day, and then we'll get back into some Q&A. What do you guys want us to take a look at? I did see earlier, I see Sheeb. I think Sheeb is one we definitely can take a look at. I don't really count Sheeb as a meme coin. So Sheeb's actually one I've considered putting in my portfolio. I think I also saw Link, but we're going to start with Sheeb. A good old Sheeb USD chart.
A little Sheeb's all you need.
Let's check out what Coinbase is doing. Now, Sheeb is not getting the same bullish momentum that the friends are getting, right? So meme coins, lower meme coins like BONK and BOEM and those are going up a little higher. Sheeb's not necessarily rallying just yet. I do like where we are sitting. I actually, even right here, I had a level. Again, we haven't quite touched it, but we've got super, super close. I put this mark down as a former level of resistance. Let's take off LuxAlgo for a second. Love LuxAlgo. But I put this link down, a former resistance level here around, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and then a 1, 6. As a potential level for a pullback. Whether we hit it or not, we got stinking close, got very close to that level. But I do think as we start to kind of look at what is happening here on the daily, the weekly, we're going to see reasons to be bullish here. First and foremost, we have already taken out and come into the take profits of the sell order that we got way back on June 10th. So just one more reason, if you guys don't have LuxAlgo, if you're serious about trading and investing correctly, this is the #1 trading indicator out there. I've not met a single person using it who said this was a waste of their money. And we have I think well over 100 people at this point signed up with our link. Not a single one of them has reached out to me and complained. That's because they're making money. Also, when you buy it, you get access to our VIP trading group. So that's something that is a big perk along with getting the best indicator out there. Check out the link down below. Let's check out the oscillators, because again, we're not seeing the momentum on the price action be bullish, but what are the oscillators saying right now? We got the stochastics RSI, which again, similar to other projects, bottomed out here from June 4th all the way until here on June 24th. It finally started to get some bullish momentum and picking up some strength. We're witnessing probably another day or two until we get a bullish MACD for the first time since back in the beginning of June. We see that the RSI was 100% oversold back here. It bottomed out. The RSI got down to 26. Oh, strong oversold position. It's starting to make a move back to the upside. And then we check out our LuxAlgo oscillator. It's not quite time yet. Let's give this one another day. But a green reversal was in play back on the 19th. You guys know we have a 12-day window for this to work out. Green reversal, bullish momentum printed here 2 days ago on the 25th. No. And we have not crossed above the bearish threshold yet. We don't have all the excessive sellers gone. Give another day, maybe two, and I think we will get a daily buy signal for SHIB. Guess where we can run up to before we really run into problems on the daily chart? We still have about a 35% run up here until about those 4 zeros and then 2369 before the bears have to decide if they want to hold the line or can the bulls take over. So SHIB, despite the fact the momentum has not started, it actually looks like it's in a very good position here on the daily chart. Let's see. Someone said ChainLink, and you know I can't pass up a good opportunity to talk about ChainLink. I don't apologize. Anyone who wonders, does Tim ever grow tired of talking about ChainLink? No, I do not. I love ChainLink. Anyone who's like, oh, Tim just shills ChainLink. Well, okay, here's what I want people to understand. Whenever you accuse any influencer, I'm going to defend all crypto influencers out there when you claim that they're shilling something just because they own a bag of it. Do you want us to shill things we don't buy? Do you want us to tell you to go buy something that we don't even believe enough in to hold ourselves? Of course we're going to shill things that we're holding. Why? Because we believe it's going up. That's why we're holding it. So anyone who has a problem with how much we talk about ChainLink, it reflects how much portfolio we have of ChainLink because we're very long-term bullish believers in the project. Let's take a look at what is happening here. You get a better appreciation for this if I go to the 4-hour chart. But I told you guys yesterday we had a little bit of a fake out, but ultimately look for a big breakout above this this falling megaphone pattern. Well, today we're taking care of that for good. We are rallying here, setting a higher high for the first time. We have not seen a higher high on this time frame, 4-hour chart, since May 29th. So we're pretty much coming up on a whole month of nothing but lower highs and lower lows on ChainLink. We're breaking that trend right now, but let's look at some better details. Again, you see the bullish momentum. Let's see what LuxAlgo is saying here. Came down, kind of hit a order block, that bullish order block from LuxAlgo, hit it perfectly, hit the take profit on the sell order we got back here earlier on in June. We've got some room here before we run into that daily smart trail, but this is one, I think we're going to be able to top this one pretty easily, but let's just look at the percentage left in it. We still have about 11% before we run into that problem. Let's take a look at our oscillators just like the rest of them. Oh, would you look at that? A lot of bullishness. RSI getting close to the 50. MACD about to cross that bullish cross, probably happening either tonight or tomorrow, depending on price action. What's LuxAlgo say? Okay, here we go. We actually haven't even, despite all the bullishness, we haven't even flashed bullish on the chart. It's going to happen, though. Green reversal, bullish momentum. That money flow is slowing down its negativity. It's not positive yet, but just give us another day or two. I'm very much expecting that money flow to go positive and ChainLink once again to be flashing bullish orders. What we need to do, though, let's get up above $16. Let's get above this daily smart trail, that red line right there, and the bulls should be back in control. When I turn off all of the LuxAlgo, you're also going to see that with all this bearishness that's been happening, I don't think it's going to be that long before we get back up to $21. Watch for that to come into play. Again, what we have to get above, let's worry about 16 first, but after 16, I guess that order block's a little bit alarming. I mean, this one, you do see bulls get a little bit exhausted, but it's not really until you get up back to $21, $22 that you have an extremely strong order block, in my opinion, based off of what LuxAlgo is printing. Look for, again, 16 first, but if that gets broken, we're going above $20 in not very long time here on ChainLink. And again, we're moving bullishly despite the fact that we haven't even fully gotten the bullish push on the LuxAlgo oscillator. Once that happens, it's smooth runnings from there, in my opinion. Let's take I said one more, and then we'll do our factoid of the day. T-Shroom, what coin have you seen maybe a lot?
Did we already crack open Ondo?
We have not. And it's partially because Ondo's in the red today. You know, we've been so positive today. We haven't taken a moment
That's right.
To be a little negative here. Let's be honest, though. While I'm saying it's negative because Ondo is down 1.8% on the day, that doesn't mean the last 24 hours. That means last night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when this candle opened, we are down 1.7% now. Why is that, though? Because we actually had a really big day here a couple of days ago. Now, this is one similar to ChainLink. Let's appreciate this a little more. It has not broken out like ChainLink has, but it was in a falling megaphone pattern as well, just like we saw with ChainLink. And I forgot to show you this actually, when we do break above, we should see a breakout on this, kind of get us up probably somewhere here in the range of getting back to about 155. For a while, I've been watching and saying, watch out for 172. I still think that's going to happen, but 155 to me seems like a good level to watch for when Ondo does break out. That could be the next level of big resistance right there. You can see, again, that's the 4-hour chart. Let's go to the daily chart here. Daily chart, there we go. All right, so we do have a little bit of resistance sitting above us before we talk about 155. Our smart trail, it's going to start giving us some resistance around 133, but ultimately we're talking about 140. That's the level that once we start to get to the bullish push here on Ondo, that's going to be the first level the bears got to decide. Do they want to hold it or do they want to defend it? That from here is still a 20% rally, give or take, before we have to make that decision. What are our oscillators saying here at the moment? You guys can see Stochastics has been kind of rallying now for a couple of days here. RSI is kind of just bouncing, hovering right there at the 50. It's not deciding right now. This communicates to me when we grow below the 50, then above the 50, then below the 50, then above the 50, and now we're back below the 50. This is communicating that neither the bulls nor the bears, based off of the relative strength index, the RSI, really know which one they want to be in control. It's kind of an indecision point. So you got to come and look at some other things. Our MACD, kind of the same thing. It starts to go bullish, then it comes back down, but you can see the trend of the histograms. After being really high and coming down, we're definitely heading back up in terms of the strength of our MACD histogram. So give that one, again, a couple more days here. Ondo, it was kind of early. Now it's a little late. It's kind of beating to its own, it's kind of marching the beat of its own drum here at T-Shroom. But the last thing we're watching right here, we technically actually had this buy signal on Ondo way back here on the 19th. And if you guys remember, that's when it started to rally. But we had to wait for the green reversal, the bullish momentum, and the positive money flow. This is one of those weird times where the money flow actually went positive before the other two. We've hesitated right now, but let's go back. When did that buy signal flash? What was happening? What did I say? Right here. Boom. It marked this day right here as the bottom. It said that was the buy signal. If you had bought right there, you probably are not stopped out if you have a decently aggressive, smart risk to reward ratio in your trade. Ultimately, we've been trading sideways since then, but since the last call really was bullish on this chart and we don't have a strong reason to go bearish, I'm going to give the slight edge of the indecision to the bulls. Also, because the rest of the market is bullish. And I don't think that Ondo, even though it's marching to the beat of its own drum right this second, I don't think that long-term it's going to do that. In fact, I think this is one, as soon as there's an overwhelming positive feeling about crypto, Ondo could be one of the major benefiters of that, because it's kind of like it's one of the favorite children right now. It's the darling of crypto. Everyone's so excited about its future. Watch it be a big one as well here in the next couple of days. We just got to wait for some more bullish confirmation to come in first. Now, I see a lot more in here. I see someone asking for Casma, for Jasmy, for Ethereum. These are all great picks. Stick around. We're going to get there in a second. It is time to check out the factoid of the day. And we did hear from the elf, the selector of the factoid. He feels really strong about this one. He knows that sometimes these factoids, they can get up a little down, but he's like, no, Tim, I got a good one for you today. He sent me a little message right before the show. T-Shroom, what's his factoid for me today?
That's right, Tim. Well, this factoid of the day is brought to you by LuxAlgo, the best trading indicator there is. But it's also brought to you by you. Hitting the like button. Go ahead and smash that like button. Tim, what countries does Elon Musk have citizenship in? A,
Okay.
U.S., South Africa, Japan. B, US, Japan, UAE, C, South Africa, Canada, US, or D, US, South Africa, Denmark. Let us know down in the chat which answer is right. Tim, what do you think?
Okay, so US and South Africa, that would eliminate B. So we're talking about, is it Denmark, Japan, or Canada? All right, I'm going to eliminate C. I don't think he's Canadian. Is he Denmark? Is he a Denmark or Japan? That's hard. I mean, he kind of has, like, he looks like he could have a little Japanese in him. Countries Elon Musk have citizen. Oh, it's the question citizenship. I'm thinking nationality. That changes everything. Okay. I still am going to say I know South African. I know South Africa is one of them. So we still eliminate B. Now C comes back into the equation, doesn't it? He could be a citizen of Canada. Gosh, that's hard.
Come on, Tim.
The elf is, oh man. I don't even feel good about like a second option. I'm kind of now leaning towards C because I think it'd be easy to get citizenship in Canada once you're here in the US. Let's go Canada. I feel like maybe he does business in Canada. Maybe he's a Canadian citizen.
Tim, you got it.
Come on. I did not
South
feel
Africa,
good about that.
Canada,
I did not
US,
feel good about that.
The man, the official Wikipedia page. And yeah, Tim, I mean, this would be a pretty sweet situation to be in. Having citizenship in U.S., Canada, and South Africa. I wonder if he gets tricky with any kind of taxes stuff.
I mean, no offense, and I want to urge this: no offense to anyone who is Canadian. Okay, love you guys as people. Who the heck wants to be a Canadian citizen right now?
Dang.
I'm just shout out to our Canadian friends. Again, I love you guys. All of our Canadian watchers. Are you really excited right now about your Canadian citizenship? Put a 1 in chat if you are not excited about your Canadian citizenship. Put a 2 in chat if you love Canada and it's the greatest country on earth in your personal opinion. I don't think we're going to see a lot of 2s.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
One of the first chats was actually
Jew P would of course throw us off and throw a 2 in there, but I don't think he's Canadian, so it doesn't count.
Said they were from Montreal. There it is. Gaeth said hello from Montreal, which, if I'm not mistaken, is in Canada. No, it definitely is. I've been there. Canada is America's hat, according to this digital image. So that's got to be true.
Does that make America a head? Is that like, is Mexico a bow tie? What does that mean about?
You've never heard that?
I don't think I've heard hat.
Oh, Tim, you are just so funny. It's funny to find out which colloquialisms. What I guess we would call that a colloquialism. What little stereotypes some people know and don't know. Growing up in the South, you probably don't hear a lot of stereotypes about the Canadians, but I've been there, and I'm a little bit more of a man of the world. A little bit more seasoned, a little more experienced. Just kidding. I am more traveled than Tim, but.
Probably. I will say literally, and we're about to get into more Q&A here in a second. Like literally a half hour before the live show, my wife is texting me about a trip. She wants to take a trip like in October or something. She's like, should we go to Italy? And I was like, well, how about we wait till for Italy to fall of 2025? Like, let's go take an Italy trip right after we took profit on a major bull market. Let's not go spend thousands of dollars in Italy now in 2024, right in the middle of when I'm going to be able to turn that money. It's really one of those things. I hope people understand this. Like, it's like thinking like, if you spend, like, if you're like, oh, let me take some money and go buy something right now. Let me liquidate my crypto. Let's say you liquidate $5,000. You're, in my opinion, I feel like you guys should think this way too. You're not liquidating $5,000. If you believe in crypto the way that we believe in crypto, that $5,000 easily could 10x in the next year and some change. So it's more like you're liquidating $50,000, right? It hurts to hear. And that's like the concept you have to have when you're investing correctly. There's a time to live. There's time to live it up, and there's time to spend money, and there's a time to invest money. This is the invest money time. Be wise out there with your money. Let's take a look at some of those coins. I forgot which ones they said. I remember I liked them. But T-Shirt, do you remember some of the Q&A
Well,
things that we had here.
you know who's been very active in chat is the AMC stock. There's been a lot of chatter around
AMC.
that. I don't see why we wouldn't look at that. And then Injective,
Did
Warrior 4588 was shouting out that one.
what happened with AMC? Did they hit some reports? Did reports come out? I thought I saw someone saying something happened. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Let's look at the chart. Let's just let the chart speak for itself. This is AMC, people. Now, we created an order block here that's pretty neutral. I mean, it should have some selling pressure as well, but you'll see the green and red are kind of similar. That means both the bulls and the bears would be equally exhausted at this point. That makes it not a very strong order block either direction. We touched the blue smart trail here back on May 31st, a while ago, almost a month ago. We have been trading boringly sideways on AMC. I mean, just look at this. It's been in a tight zone below $6 and above $4. Cannot get out of that ever since we dropped down into it back on May 15th. Let's see, though, if anything exciting is happening. We do see some overextended stuff happening. All right, here we go. Maybe someone was saying, like, based off of the LuxAlgo stuff. Here's what I'll say. This one was interesting back here when we had a green reversal on April 30th, but it got kind of canceled out because we didn't really turn bullish for 13 days. And you guys know my rule, it's 12 days. So I really probably would not have treated this as a bullish signal, despite the fact that we had the green reversal, the bullish momentum went up, and the RSI went up. It just didn't happen within a tight window. I would not have seen that as being very positive. Right now, while I'll say 2 out of the 3 is not bad, especially when money flow is one of them, we have positive momentum and positive money flow, but there hasn't been any reason for a strong bullish reversal. So while I kind of am leaning a little more bullish, looking at this, it's just not a lot happening on the chart that makes me excited. We got a strong breaker block coming in here around 758. What's a shorter time frame saying right here? All right, strong support, but again, I mean, it's the zone. This order block, this breaker block is simply the zone of support right here. And you got that order block up above us. Again, I don't want to crush anyone's spirits here about AMC. I'm not seeing anything that gets me excited about it one way or the other. Like, I'm not bearish, but I'm not bullish here either. I mean, okay, so weekly chart. Here's what I'll say. I like this, but it's a bearish call right here. Negative money flow. That's weird to get a red reversal right as the bearish money flow is crossing below the bearish threshold. I could be wrong, but that might be a first for me. I don't know if I've ever seen a bearish reversal when the money flow also is crossing below the bearish threshold. Either way, what I like about this chart, I don't like that. I like that the excessive sellers look like they're coming in here on the weekly chart. And if you guys have been watching for a while, excessive sellers bring in bearish pressure. But when they leave, and they will leave, that usually is a very, very strong reason for bullish uptick. For example, back here, we had excessive sellers, and then they left around July 11th. Is that what that says? July 11th of 2022. So we're going back a ways. What happened July 11th of 2022? Right in here. Oh, look at that. If you had bought on a weekly chart, you could have had a nice little long here. July 11th, right there. Boom. All right. So we would have bought somewhere here, rid this up to our smart trail, a 76% gain right there on that order, right? So what I'm seeing, this whole purpose of looking at this, because I just wanted to find something positive to say about AMC, because I don't see really anything else on the shorter terms to talk about. The weekly chart is not printing that, but it's setting up those excessive sellers so that in the next couple of weeks/months, we could see another similar movement just like that. But I'll tell you, don't be surprised if this thing this RSI, this oscillator, while we're bringing those excessive sellers, starts to come to the downside, and then we'll get the trifecta later on, have ourselves a nice bullish flash right there. But got some time before that happens. Sorry, I don't know. I mean, ASC profits into altcoin portfolio. Okay, the charts have not reflected AMC doing anything very positive.
Apparently, the flurry of chatter in the chat is actually about a coin called AMC. Guys, here at the Investing Bros, we're really not the DGen channel. Like, every once in a while we'll talk about memes and things like that, but we're not the DGen channel, right? There's other channels that talk about that kind of stuff. AMC, GameStop, crypto memes, they're fun. They're there for fun, casino, right? The meme of it all, but don't expect to get wealthy and build generational wealth over time with them.
Yeah, I think it must be a brand new meme coin that's doing something else. Yeah, it's not going to be one that we take a heavy look at. Sorry for the confusion. Rydell Sosa has been patiently asking for Ethereum. I see that one. Let's do Ethereum, and then we might start wrapping up today's show. It is already 4 o'clock, and I have a VIP trading stream at 4:45. I get home to do. We'll be talking and teaching fixed range volume. So if you guys are excited about that and you're in the VIP trading group, come
And on
check it out.
top of that, Tim, I am really hot in this hoodie. I made a big mistake committing to the hoodie for the whole stream.
Hey, you do what makes you happy, T-shirt. That's what I'm all about. All right, let's go ahead here and take a look at what's happening with Ethereum. Again, bounced off of very few people talked about the level of support here on 3,200. We were one of them. Hit it just about perfectly. Go check the receipts on that one. I'm just going to assume here we're going to see something very, very similar to what we've seen on other ones. Let's see here. We do have an order block and a smart trail kind of giving us some resistance around 3,600. That would give Ethereum still some running room for the bulls before we run into a problem of upwards of 5%. So not major compared to the other ones we looked at, but for Ethereum, 5% is still pretty good, especially if you're trading like on Blowfin and you throw some leverage on that bad boy. A little bit different here, I will say, on Ethereum. Stochastics is showing some strength. The RSI is getting back up to the 50 line, getting closer there. I want to see it get above that 50 to feel good about it. So honestly, actually, compared to the other coins we're looking at, Ethereum looks like almost like the least bullish of the ones we're seeing so far. We do see the MACD making a sign like it wants to cross back up above that bullish, get it back bullish and cross above that orange line. When it comes to this one, though, it's not overwhelmingly negative. Like, so the money flow is negative, but it's very slow. Like, it's just barely bleeding out. This is the kind of one that it doesn't necessarily need to like come down and then go back up. We don't need to see very negative money flow. This one could really just kind of scoop right here and then start to move back to the upside. We're not necessarily overextended on the oscillator. We did get a green reversal come in here a couple of days ago on the 21st. We have some green momentum. But with that money flow staying negative, I will say on the daily chart, it doesn't mean we can't go up. I've seen lots of times where the money flow is going negative and yet we start to get a rally and things follow later. It just isn't giving me the same confident feeling of bullishness that I was getting necessarily with other projects. With that said, though, if we can get up above this smart trail here around 3,600, let's call it $3,700. If Ethereum starts to reconquer 3,700 and we get a daily blue smart trail once again of support, that's the sign the bulls are back in control. What I'll say is, again, if you're looking for a coin to trade right now or a coin for long-term investment, long-term investment, DCA is the way. If you like Ethereum, DCA into it. But if I'm like saying, man, what's the best investment for maybe the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't think Ethereum's jumping off the chart to me as the right choice here. Some of those other altcoins are Ethereum. I think it'll follow suit. I think it'll stay bullish, but I don't necessarily think that that's something that is going to just jump off the charts. It's not showing overwhelming strength. Jason G, this will be the last one here. Hey, Tim. I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe hey, and the Y is upside down. It just became a lowercase h. We're going to go with hey, Tim. Hey, Tim, when will we see Bitcoin over 72,000? It's really hard to say when. I'll tell you this. If we just get a trifecta of great news in the next 24 hours, maybe the next couple of weeks. If we continue to trade sideways, though, let's turn off LuxAlgo for a second. I've told you guys before, if the 4-year cycle kind of stays intact and the rules of it, suggestion would be we wouldn't get really above 72 confidently until closer to August. I'm open to the concept of that happening early. I think the signs that we could do this earlier than August are there. But I did say, I'm just going to leave this up here until I'm proven wrong. I did say back in March, do not be surprised as we get closer to this halving event, this vertical yellow line, that we dip into the halving and then trade sideways and boring between 72 and 60K for months until about August, September. That's when historically we've seen prices break to the upside. So do we do it immediately here? Do we get some great news? Is that discussion tonight between Orange Man and Sleepy Man go well? Do we beat the ops? I think we beat the ops expiry, but do we see potentially PCE get really good? And maybe Jerome Powell and the Fed gives us some confidence we'll see more than one rate cut before the end of the year. Then I think we potentially do it here probably sometime in July. If not, though, if there's some more negative pressure coming, we could just continue to see some boring price action and wait until August, and then we take off August, September of 2024. Either way, I'm loading up my bags for both. I'm not making any trades right now thinking, let me go and buy Bitcoin now, and then I'm going to see it get up to 80,000 next 2 weeks. I'm going to probably be trading, my take profit on a Bitcoin trade probably is going to be 67,000. I said that earlier. This is where we're going to see that major resistance be in play, the smart trail and the breaker block. But I think there's a long to be played right here between where we currently are, around 61.4. I think we could get a nice move to the upside. And again, if you use Blowfin, maybe throw like a 3 or 5 trade, throw a 5x on there. We're talking about a potential 45x 45% profit on a long trade, just back up to 67,000, where I think the bears will at least try to mount some sort of resistance. They might fail, but I would expect some people to take profit. I expect some people to re-enter shorts. I showed you on high block, this is a level where we have liquidations around 63.4, but we have just a bunch of things that look interesting all the way until about 67,000. And then you start to see a little bit of a gap until it picks back up at 73. A lot of times, long-term traders will execute what's called a bear trap and just get rid of all of these shorts between 63 and 67, and then they'll reevaluate. Is it still time to go up, or is there room to come back down? Volatility is a big, big play in crypto, and that's not changing today. There you go. That's my thought about 72,000 and Bitcoin. Guys, that is all we have time for today. But thank you so much for being here. On your way out, smash the like button if you're excited about the future. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single piece of content from the bros. Shout out to our sponsors. And with that said, love you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.